Captain James Walker rubbed his tired eyes as he stared at the main screen of the Pioneer, a small exploration vessel on a routine survey mission in the Ta City system. His crew of 12 had been mapping the outer planets for 3 weeks, and everyone was ready to head home. "Captain, I'm picking up something strange," said Officer Dan Miller from the sensor station. His voice held an unusual edge. "There's a large metal structure drifting near the asteroid belt." Walker frowned. "Mining operation?" "No, sir. Well, you should see this." The main screen changed to show a massive ship, easily 10 times the size of the Pioneer. It was clearly a warship with its long, angular hull and what looked like weapon ports along its sides. But most striking was its design, unmistakably human in origin. "That's impossible," Walker whispered. "There are no ships of that class in the fleet, nothing even close to that size." The bridge fell silent as the crew stared at the image. The mysterious vessel was dark, appearing dormant as it drifted slowly through space. "Run a check against all registered military and civilian vessels," Walker ordered. 2 minutes later, Officer Emma Jones from Communications shook her head. "No matches, Captain. This ship doesn't exist in any database." Walker made his decision. "Helm, take us closer. Slow approach. Weapons on standby." The Pioneer moved cautiously toward the derelict warship. As they drew nearer, the true scale of the vessel became apparent. It was enormous, with a hull design unlike anything in Earth's fleet, but still clearly of human manufacture. The ship's name was barely visible on its side. "Phantom. Scan for life signs," Walker ordered. "None detected, sir," replied Miller. "But there's minimal power running through some systems. And Captain, those marks on the hull, they're not from any weapon I recognize." Walker studied the scars that crisscrossed the ship's surface. They formed strange, spiral patterns that no human weapon would make. "Prepare a boarding party," he said finally. "I want to know what this thing is, and where it came from." An hour later, Walker led a team of 5 through the airlock and into the massive vessel. Their magnetic boots clicked against the metal floor as they moved through dark corridors, lit only by their flashlights and the occasional emergency light still functioning on minimal power. "The air is breathable," said Dr. Lisa Reed, checking her scanner. "Temperatures cold but survivable." They moved deeper into the ship, passing empty crew quarters and control stations with technology that looked both familiar and strangely advanced. "Some of these systems," said engineer Mike Foster, examining a control panel, "they're based on our current tech, but evolved somehow, like seeing what our technology might look like in 100 years. They reached what appeared to be the bridge, a large, circular room with command stations arranged in a horseshoe pattern around a central chair. Walker approached the captain's chair and noticed a small control panel on its arm. "Should I try to power it up?" he asked Foster. The engineer hesitated, then nodded. "The ship's core is stable. A little more power shouldn't hurt." Walker pressed his hand against the panel. To everyone's surprise, it lit up immediately, scanning his palm. "Human DNA recognized," announced a calm voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. "Initiating emergency protocol." The bridge sprang to life. Screens activated, lights brightened, and a holographic figure appeared before them. A tall man in a uniform none of them recognized. "I am Atlas, Tactical Artificial Intelligence of the UES Phantom," the hologram said. "You are not the crew I was expecting, but you are human, and that's what matters. What year is it?" Walker exchanged glances with his team before answering. "Earth Standard Year 2187. The hologram seemed to process this. Then it worked. "We arrived before first contact." "First contact with whom?" Walker asked. "What are you talking about? Where did this ship come from?" "This vessel was launched in Earth Standard Year 2342, Atlas replied. "It was sent back through an artificial wormhole as part of Operation Timeshift. I am programmed to assist humanity in preparing for the war against the Collective." A stunned silence fell over the boarding party. "You're claiming this ship is from the future?" Dr. Reed finally asked. "Correct. 155 years in your future, to be precise." Atlas waved a hand, and the screens around them displayed images that made the team gasp. Earth cities in ruins, strange biomechanical ships in orbit, and humans fighting alongside aliens against a common enemy. "The Collective is a hive mind species that will begin its invasion of human space in approximately 30 years, Atlas continued. "By my time, they had destroyed most of Earth's colonies and were on the verge of taking Earth itself. This ship carries technology and information that could change that outcome." Walker felt a chill run down his spine. "Why should we believe any of this? I anticipated your skepticism." Atlas gestured again, and a new image appeared, a detailed schematic of the Phantom. "This vessel contains defensive and offensive capabilities beyond anything currently available to your Earth defense fleet. For example, a series of equations and technical specifications appeared, and Foster gasped. "Captain, these shield harmonics, they're based on theoretical work I've read about, but they've solved problems we haven't even properly identified yet." Walker was about to ask another question when Officer Jones's voice came through his communicator, sounding urgent. "Captain, we're detecting 3 ships entering the system. Configuration matches Tauran scout vessels. They'll be within scanning range of our position in 10 minutes. Walker cursed under his breath. The Taurans, humanity's most aggressive rivals for territory in this sector, were the last complication they needed. "Can this ship move?" he asked Atlas. "Not without proper power-up sequences. The Phantom requires specific activation protocols after temporal displacement." "How long?" "With your crew's assistance, approximately 1 hour." Walker looked at Foster, who nodded eagerly. "We can try, Captain." "We don't have an hour," Walker said. "Those Tauran scouts will report our position, and they'll bring a battle fleet. They cannot find this ship." "There is an alternative," Atlas said. "The Phantom's automated defense systems can be activated with minimal power. They won't allow us to move, but they can protect both vessels until full power is restored." Walker hesitated, weighing his options. Fleet regulations required him to report the find immediately. But if Atlas was telling the truth, this ship could change humanity's future. "Do it," he decided. "Activate the defense systems, and show me everything this ship can do." As Atlas began the activation sequence, Walker sent orders to the Pioneer to dock with the larger vessel. Whatever happened next, they were committed now. In the darkness of space, the dormant warship from the future began to wake, its systems humming to life one by one. The Tauran scouts approached. Unaware, they were about to encounter something impossible. A warship that shouldn't exist, but somehow did. And with it, humanity's best hope for survival. "Tauran ships will be in visual range in 5 minutes, Officer Jones reported from the Pioneer, her voice tense over the comm system. Captain Walker turned to Atlas. "Show me these defense systems you mentioned." The hologram nodded and waved a hand. A new display appeared, showing the Phantom's outer hull. Small sections lit up in sequence. "These are automated point defense arrays," Atlas explained. "They can target and neutralize incoming projectiles or small vessels. They require minimal power and can operate independently of main systems." Engineer Mike Foster was already at one of the control stations. "I think I can reroute emergency power to these systems. Dr. Reed, can you help me with these connection sequences?" Dr. Lisa Reed joined him, her eyes wide as she studied the advanced technology. "This circuitry design, it's unlike anything I've seen before." Walker watched his crew work with the future technology. "Atlas, you said this ship was part of something called Operation Timeshift. Who sent you back?" "The Earth Resistance," Atlas replied. By 2342, most of Earth's governments had fallen. The Collective had taken over 80% of human colonies. The Resistance was humanity's last organized fighting force. The hologram's expression turned solemn. They knew they couldn't win the war in their time. So they chose to change history instead. A loud hum filled the bridge as lights brightened around them. Defense systems online, Foster announced, looking up from his work. 20% power available to shields and point defense weapons. Just in time, Jones's voice came through again. Tauren scouts changing course. They'd spotted us. Walker turned to Atlas. Will your weapons harm their ships? The Phantom's defensive protocols are set to minimum force, the AI replied. Against Tauren scout vessels, they will disable rather than destroy. Walker nodded with relief. Starting a war with the Taurens was the last thing he wanted. Sir, Jones called urgently. The Taurens are powering weapons. They're treating the Phantom as a threat. Before Walker could respond, the massive ship trembled slightly. Incoming fire, Atlas reported calmly. Low-yield missiles. No damage to our shields. On the main screen, they watched as the Phantom's defense systems activated. Bright blue pulses shot from points along the hull, intercepting the Tauren missiles. Then, 3 more precise beams reached out toward the scout ships themselves. What are those beams doing? Walker asked. Electromagnetic pulse, targeted at their weapon and engine systems. Atlas explained. Non-lethal, temporary disruption only. They watched as the Tauren ships drifted to a stop, their lights flickering. How long will they be disabled? Walker asked. Approximately 30 minutes, sufficient time to complete our power-up sequence. Foster looked up from his station. Captain, we've got more power available now. I think we can access the ship's data core. Do it, Walker ordered. I want to know everything about this ship and the future it came from. As Foster worked, Walker studied the disabled Tauren ships on the screen. The Taurens will call for reinforcements. We need to move this ship somewhere safe. I suggest we access the main propulsion systems next, Atlas said. However, there is something else you should see first. The hologram led them through a series of corridors deeper into the ship until they reached a large circular chamber. Inside were rows of cylindrical pods, each about 2 meters long. Cryogenic preservation units, Atlas explained. They contain the Phantom's specialist crew. Walker approached one of the pods. Through its frosted glass top, he could make out the shape of a person. You brought people from the future too. Not just people, Atlas said. Enhanced humans, specifically designed to operate this vessel's advanced systems. Their neural implants allow them to interface directly with the ship in ways ordinary humans cannot. Foster examined the control panel on one of the pods. These life signs are stable. They're alive in there. Can we wake them? Walker asked. Only one pod is set for immediate revival, Atlas replied. The pod containing navigator Anna Miller. She was programmed to awaken first and evaluate the situation. A light on the central pod began to pulse. Walker looked at Atlas questioningly. The revival process has already begun, the AI confirmed. When we activated the defense systems, it triggered her wake-up sequence. Steam hissed from the edges of the pod as its top slowly opened. Inside lay a woman who appeared to be in her early 30s. Her dark hair was cut short, and Walker noticed small metallic implants at her temples. How long until she's conscious? Dr. Reed asked, scanning the pod with her medical device. Minutes only, Atlas replied. Her enhanced physiology allows for rapid recovery from cryosleep. Back on the bridge, Jones's voice came through urgently. Captain, I'm detecting a transmission from the Tauren ships. They're calling for backup. Sir, a battle fleet from their nearby outpost. Walker turned to Foster. How soon can we move this ship? The main reactor is coming online now, Foster replied. But I have no idea how to operate its propulsion systems. This technology is way beyond me. Then we need her, Walker said, nodding toward the cryopod chamber. How long until the Tauren fleet arrives? Based on their nearest known outpost, approximately 6 hours, Atlas calculated. The woman in the pod suddenly gasped, her eyes flying open. She sat up quickly, taking in her surroundings with alert eyes that glowed slightly blue. Another sign of her enhancements. Atlas, she called, her voice hoarse from disuse. "I am here, Navigator Miller," the AI responded. The woman, Anna, turned to look at Walker and his team. "You're not from my time," she said immediately. "Early 22nd century uniforms. Earth Defense Fleet." She glanced at the insignia on Walker's uniform. "Captain." Walker nodded, impressed by her quick assessment. "Captain James Walker of the EDF Pioneer. We found your ship drifting in the TA-CD system." Anna swung her legs over the side of the pod, moving carefully as she tested her muscles. "What year is it?" 2187, Dr. Reed told her. Anna closed her eyes briefly. "Earlier than we aimed for. The wormhole must have shifted our trajectory." She looked at Atlas. Status report. Minimal systems online. Defense grid active. 3 Tauran scout vessels temporarily disabled. Their battle fleet has been summoned and will arrive in approximately 6 hours. Anna nodded and stood up. "Then we have work to do." She looked at Walker. "Captain, your crew found us for a reason. The future I come from is one where humanity is nearly extinct. We have a chance to change that. But I'll need your help." "I have 1,000 questions," Walker said. "And I'll answer them," Anna promised. "But first, we need to move this ship. The Phantom wasn't meant to be discovered by the Taurans this early." She walked steadily toward the bridge, her movements becoming more fluid with each step. "Atlas, begin full system initialization. Direct all available power to the stealth drive." Walker and his team followed her. "Stealth drive. The Phantom's primary innovation," Anna explained as they walked. "A propulsion system that leaves no energy signature and bends light around the hull. Will be invisible to Tauran sensors." Back on the bridge, Anna moved directly to the captain's chair, but didn't sit down. "This is your operation, Captain Walker. I'm just here to help you use this ship." Walker appreciated the gesture of respect. "Where do you suggest we go?" "The dark side of TA-CDVI's largest moon," she replied without hesitation. "The magnetic fields there will provide additional cover while we finish bringing the ship online." Walker nodded and turned to his team. "Foster, help Anna with whatever she needs. Dr. Reed, I want you to learn everything you can about these enhanced humans. Jones, maintain communication with the Pioneer and watch those Tauran ships." As his crew moved to their tasks, Walker turned back to Anna. "Now about those answers you promised." Anna placed her hand on a control panel, and her eyes glowed brighter as she connected directly with the ship's systems. "The Phantom contains the sum total of human knowledge from my time, Captain, including everything we learned about the enemy that will nearly destroy us." The main screen lit up with images of strange biomechanical ships and alien beings, creatures with multiple limbs and insect-like features. "The Collective," Anna said grimly. "And they're already on their way here, much earlier than in my timeline. We don't have much time to prepare." The Phantom moved silently through space, its massive hull somehow invisible to both visual sensors and radar. Captain Walker stood on the bridge, watching as TA-CDVI's largest moon grew larger on the main screen. "Approaching dark side coordinates," Anna announced, her hands moving across the control panel. The blue glow in her eyes pulsed as she communicated directly with the ship's systems. "Preparing for power down sequence." Engineer Mike Foster shook his head in amazement. "The energy readings are unbelievable. This stealth drive uses less power than our standard engines, but moves 10 times faster. In my time, we had to develop technologies that used minimal energy," Anna explained. "The Collective targets high energy signatures. That's how they found most of our early colonies. They followed the trail of our fusion reactors." The Phantom slid into position behind the moon, hidden from the approach path of the incoming Tauran fleet. "We're secure," Anna confirmed, the glow in her eyes dimming as she disconnected from the ship's systems. She looked tired after the effort. "Are you all right?" Dr. Reed asked, scanning Anna with a medical device. "Neural interface takes a toll," Anna replied. "I'll adjust as my body fully wakes from cryosleep." Walker nodded to a nearby chair. Perhaps you should rest while you tell us more about why you're here. Anna sat down gratefully. As I said, I come from a future where humanity is losing a war against the collective. But that's not the whole story. She looked at Atlas, who nodded encouragingly. The Phantom wasn't sent back by Earth's military, Anna continued, because by my time, Earth's unified government had fallen. We were sent by the Resistance, the last free humans fighting after Earth's surrender. Walker and his crew exchanged alarmed glances. Earth surrenders? Officer Jones asked in disbelief. Anna nodded grimly. In my timeline, the collective first appeared in 2219, 32 years from now. They seemed peaceful at first, offering technology and knowledge. Many human colonies welcomed them. Atlas activated a holographic display showing a timeline of events. By 2225, the collective had established bases on 17 human worlds. That's when the assimilation began. Assimilation? Walker asked. The collective doesn't just conquer, Anna explained. They absorb. They're a hive mind that connects all individual members. At first, they only took volunteers, humans who wanted to join their consciousness. But soon, they started taking anyone. The hologram showed disturbing images of humans with mechanical implants being connected to alien machinery. By 2230, Earth finally understood the threat and declared war, Anna continued. But it was too late. The collective had already infiltrated our defense systems. They knew our tactics, our weaknesses. What about the Taurans? Walker asked. We're on the brink of war with them now. Anna smiled sadly. That's the great irony. In my timeline, the Taurans eventually became humanity's strongest allies against the collective. Their individualistic culture made them natural enemies of a hive mind, but by the time we formed an alliance, both our civilizations had lost too much. The beeping sound came from one of the control stations. Tom Reynolds, the ship's political officer who had been quietly observing until now, checked the screen. Earth Command is hailing us, he reported. They've detected our absence from the patrol route and want a situation report. Walker hesitated. What do we tell them? If I report finding a ship from the future with advanced technology, they'll take the Phantom. Reynolds finished for him. Standard protocol would be to tow it to Earth's most secure facility for study, which would be a disaster, Anna added urgently. The Phantom wasn't just sent back with technology. It was sent back with a plan. We need to wake the rest of my crew and deploy the ship's resources in a specific sequence. Walker made his decision. Reynolds, tell command we detected unusual readings and are investigating. Request a 24-hour extension of our mission parameters. Reynolds nodded and moved to send the message. Now, Walker said, turning back to Anna, tell me about this plan. Anna gestured to Atlas, who changed the holographic display to show a star map of human space and its borders. The Phantom carries detailed information about the collective, their biology, technology, psychology, and tactics, she explained. But more importantly, it carries defensive systems that can be adapted to existing human technology. She pointed to several locations on the map. These are the 7 points where the collective will first enter human space in my timeline. If we can establish early warning systems with adapted Phantom technology at these locations, we can detect their scouts years before the main invasion. Dr. Reed studied the map. Some of these points are deep in Tauran territory. Exactly, Anna said. That's why an alliance with the Taurans is crucial. The collective is a threat to all independent species. Foster, who had been examining one of the technical displays, suddenly looked up in alarm. Captain, I'm detecting a signal being transmitted from the Pioneer, he reported. It's directed toward Earth Command, but it's encrypted. Not standard fleet protocol. All eyes turned to Reynolds, who was standing by the communication station. His hand moved subtly toward his sidearm. Reynolds, what did you do? Walker demanded. My job, Captain, Reynolds replied coldly. I have direct orders from Earth Intelligence. Any discovery of this magnitude falls under Section 7 protocols. Walker knew what that meant. Section 7 was the code for technologies deemed too dangerous to be handled by regular fleet personnel. I've informed command of the exact nature of our find. Reynolds continued. A specialized containment team is being dispatched. They'll be here in 12 hours. Anna's face paled. If they take the Phantom apart for study, we lose our advantage. The Collective's early scouts are already in this system, decades before they should be here. What? Walker turned to her in shock. Here. Now. Atlas changed the display to show the outer reaches of the Ta-CD system. A small object, barely visible against the darkness of space, was moving slowly toward the inner planets. We detected it when we powered up the Phantom's long-range sensors, Atlas explained. It matches the signature of the first wave of Collective scout probes. Walker looked from the screen to Reynolds, who still stood by the communication station, his hand on his weapon. You have no idea what you've done, Walker told him. Those specialists won't get here in time. We need to act now. The Tauran fleet will arrive first, Anna added. In my timeline, the first Tauran world to fall to the Collective was only a few light years from here. If we can show them the threat. Reynolds drew his weapon. No one is going anywhere near the Taurans. You will all remain here until the containment team arrives. That's an order. The bridge fell silent as Walker and Reynolds stared at each other. The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance, while somewhere in the darkness of space, an ancient enemy approached, one that would consume them all if they couldn't overcome their differences and prepare. Time seemed to freeze on the bridge as Reynolds pointed his weapon at Captain Walker. The political officer's face showed no emotion, but his hand was steady. Lower your weapon, Reynolds, Walker said calmly. Think about what's happening here. I have my orders, Captain, Reynolds replied. This technology is too valuable to risk on some wild story about future wars. Anna stepped forward. He doesn't believe us, Captain. He thinks we're lying. Reynolds shifted his aim toward her. Stay where you are. I can prove it, Anna said, not backing down. Atlas, show him the Collective probe's current position and data. The hologram changed to display the small probe at the edge of the system. Data streams appeared decided, showing unusual energy patterns. That means nothing to me, Reynolds said. It could be anything. Space debris, an asteroid. Then let me show you something else, Anna insisted. She slowly raised her hand to her temple, where one of her neural implants glowed. I can connect to the Phantom's database and show you direct records of the Collective. Not simulations, actual records. Before Reynolds could respond, the ship suddenly shook. An alarm sounded throughout the bridge. Proximity alert, Atlas announced. Tauran vessels approaching. They arrived earlier than predicted. Foster rushed to a control panel. They must have pushed their engines beyond safe limits. They're coming in hot. Weapons charge. Reynolds looked momentarily confused, his attention split between the immediate threat and his orders. Walker saw his chance. With a quick move, he lunged at Reynolds, knocking his weapon aside. The two men struggled briefly before Dr. Reed surprised everyone by stepping in with a medical injector. She pressed it against Reynolds' neck, and he slumped to the floor. Sedative, she explained simply. He'll be out for about an hour. Walker nodded his thanks. Jones, secure him in one of the empty quarters. He turned to Anna. How many Tauran ships? 5 warships, led by the Fist of Taurus, Atlas reported. It's commanded by Vex, one of their most experienced fleet captains. Anna's eyes widened. Vex. Commander Vex. You know him? Walker asked. Not personally, but from history. In my timeline, his grandson becomes the architect of the Human-Tauran Alliance. She moved to the captain's chair. Captain Walker, we can't fight the Taurans, and we can't run. We need to make them listen. They're not exactly known for listening, Walker reminded her. Then we make them see. Anna connected to the ship's systems again, her eyes glowing blue. The Phantom has communication technology that can override their security protocols. I can open a direct channel to Commander Vex's ship. Walker considered for a moment, then nodded. Do it. Anna worked with the ship's systems, her fingers dancing over the controls as her neural implants pulsed with light. The main screen flickered, then showed the bridge of a Tauran vessel. In the center stood a Tauran commander, tall, with gray-blue skin and ridge-like formations on his skull that marked his rank and clan. Human vessel, the Tauran said, his voice deep and harsh through the translator. I am Commander Vex of the Tauran Protectorate. You have violated our territorial claims and engaged our scout ships. Surrender or be destroyed. Commander Vex, Walker replied, stepping forward. I am Captain James Walker of the Earth Defense Fleet. What happened to your scouts was a misunderstanding. We mean no harm to the Tauran people. Vex made a dismissive gesture. Your intentions are irrelevant. That vessel you occupy, it is clearly a warship of advanced design. The Tauran High Command will not allow such a weapon in human hands so close to our territory. Anna whispered to Walker, we need to show him the collective probe. Walker nodded slightly. Commander Vex, we have detected something in this system that threatens both our peoples. If you would allow us to share our sensor data. More human tricks, Vex interrupted. You have 5 minutes to surrender before we open fire. The communication ended abruptly. Walker turned to Anna. That went well, he said dryly. He's afraid, Anna explained. The Phantom is larger and more powerful than anything in their fleet. He's afraid we're preparing for a first strike against the Tauran homeworlds. Foster looked up from his station. Tauran ships are spreading out, surrounding our position. They'll have a clear shot no matter which way we move. What about the stealth system? Walker asked. Anna shook her head. They've already locked onto us. The stealth drive works best before detection. Walker paced the bridge, thinking quickly. Atlas, what weapons does the Phantom have that could disable but not destroy the Tauran ships? Several options, Captain, the AI replied. The electromagnetic pulse that worked on their scouts would be ineffective against their capital ships. However, we have graviton disruptors that could temporarily disable their propulsion systems. That would just make them more desperate, Walker said. We need something more convincing. He turned to Anna. You said this ship was designed to demonstrate truth. What did you mean by that? Anna's expression brightened. The data projection system. It was created to share information across language and cultural barriers. She moved to another control station. We can use it to show the Taurans exactly what the collective did to their worlds in my timeline. Will it work at this distance? Walker asked. If we boost it with the main reactor, yes. She looked at Foster. Engineer, I need full power to the quantum field generator. Foster hesitated only briefly before moving to help. Just tell me what to do. As they worked, Dr. Reed returned to the bridge. Tauran ships are charging weapons, she reported grimly. 2 minutes to their deadline, Atlas added. Walker watched as Anna and Foster frantically prepared the projection system. Will you be ready in time? Almost there, Anna replied, her hands moving quickly across the controls. The Phantom was designed for this, to bridge understanding between species who would otherwise destroy each other. 30 seconds, Atlas warned. Anna looked up, her eyes now blazing with blue light. Ready. Activating quantum field projection now. The ship hummed as energy flowed through its systems. Outside, in the space between the Phantom and the Tauran vessels, light began to gather and form shapes. The projection grew larger until it surrounded all 6 ships in a sphere of light and images. Inside this massive projection, the Taurans could see their own homeworld, not as it was now, but as it would be after the collective invasion. Cities in ruins, their people connected to horrific biomechanical constructs, their individuality erased as they were absorbed into the hive mind. Then the projection shifted, showing humans and Taurans fighting side by side against the collective. At the center of one battle stood an older Tauran who bore a striking resemblance to Commander Vex. His grandson, Anna whispered to Walker. General Vex of the Allied fleet, who died saving 3 human colonies from assimilation. The projection faded, leaving the ships floating in darkness once more. The bridge was silent as they waited for the Tauran response. "Did it work?" Walker finally asked. Before Anna could answer, the communication screen activated again. Commander Vex appeared, his expression unreadable to human eyes. "Captain Walker," he said slowly, "what trickery is this?" "Not trickery, Commander," Walker replied. "A warning from the future. The ship we occupy was sent back in time to prepare us for a war against an enemy that threatens both our species." Vex was silent for a long moment. "You claim these images are from our future?" "Yes," Walker confirmed. "A future where the collective, a hive-mind species, nearly destroys both humanity and the Tauran protectorate. And the Tauran in your vision, the one who resembled me." "Your grandson," Anna said, stepping forward. "In my timeline, he becomes a hero to both our peoples." Vex's eyes narrowed. "Prove it. Show me something only my descendant would know." Anna closed her eyes, searching the Phantom's database. "The mark on your left forearm. 3 parallel lines representing the Oath of Solitude. Your grandson carries the same mark, but adds a 4th line to honor you after your death defending the Tauran colony on Bellerophon." Vex's expression changed, showing genuine surprise. He instinctively touched his left arm, where the mark was hidden beneath his armor. "That mark is a family secret," he said quietly. Then, more loudly to someone off-screen, "Stand down, weapons. Cancel the attack." He looked back at Walker. "Captain, I do not fully believe your story yet, but I am interested in hearing more." 6 hours later, Captain Walker sat at a large table in the Phantom's conference room. On one side sat Commander Vex and 2 Tauran officers. On the other side were Walker, Anna, and Dr. Reed. The air was tense, but no longer hostile. "Let me understand this clearly," Vex said, his translator converting his rough speech to English. "This ship was sent from over 150 years in the future, where both our species face extinction from these collective beings." "Yes," Anna confirmed. "In my timeline, humanity and the Tauran protectorate only formed an alliance after both had suffered terrible losses. We hope to change that." Vex tapped his clawed fingers on the table. "And you claim their scout is already in this system, decades before they should arrive." "We detected it with the Phantom's long-range sensors," Walker said. "We're as surprised as you are." Atlas projected an image of the small probe at the edge of the system. "It appears to be gathering data on all planetary bodies and transmitting it somewhere outside the system." Vex leaned forward. "If what you say is true, we should destroy this probe immediately." Anna shook her head. "That would only alert them that we've detected their presence. In my timeline, the collective sent dozens of probes before they revealed themselves. If one goes missing, they'll know something is wrong." "Then what do you suggest?" Vex asked. Before Anna could answer, Foster burst into the room. "Captain, Earth ships approaching. 3 heavy cruisers. They'll be here in 20 minutes. Walker stood quickly. "The containment team Reynolds called for. They're early too." Vex rose to his feet. "Is this some kind of trap, human?" "No," Walker assured him. "Those ships are coming to seize the Phantom. They don't know about our discussions." "Then we have a problem," Vex said grimly. "My orders were clear. Prevent humans from obtaining advanced military technology in this sector. If your ships try to take this vessel, we will be forced to intervene." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. A confrontation between Earth and Tauran forces could start the very war they were trying to prevent. Anna's eyes suddenly widened. "The probe. It's moving." Everyone rushed back to the bridge. On the main screen, they could see the collective probe had changed course and was now headed toward the inner system, directly toward their position. It must have detected the energy signatures from both fleets, Atlas theorized. The collective is always drawn to signs of advanced technology. "How long until it reaches us?" Walker asked. "At its current speed, approximately 40 minutes," Atlas replied. Anna turned to Walker and Vex. This changes everything. If the probe scans the Phantom, it will recognize the technology from my time. The collective will know we have foreknowledge of them. So we destroy it now, Vex insisted. We can't, Anna argued. Not with Earth ships approaching. Any weapons fire could be misinterpreted as an attack. Walker paced the bridge, thinking furiously. We need a plan that addresses all three problems. The Earth containment team, your fleet's orders, and the approaching probe. Anna's expression suddenly changed as an idea formed. What if we let them all see each other? What do you mean? Walker asked. The collective, Earth, and the Taurans. What if we make them all confront each other at once? She turned to Atlas. The Phantom has a capture field, doesn't it? Yes, the AI confirmed. Designed to temporarily immobilize small vessels for boarding operations. Anna looked at Walker and Vex. Here's what we do. We let the Earth ships arrive. We let the probe get close enough to detect all of us. Then we use the capture field on the probe and force all sides to witness what it truly is. Vex considered this a risky plan. What if the Earth ships fire on my fleet? I'll speak to them, Walker promised. I'm still a fleet captain. They'll listen long enough for us to show them the probe. And what about other collective ships? Vex asked. Won't capturing their probe bring more of them? Eventually, yes, Anna admitted, but not immediately. Their nearest ship is still years away. This gives us time to prepare, together. Walker looked at Vex. Commander, I know trust doesn't come easily between our peoples, but right now we face a choice between a possible future war with each other or a certain future war with the collective. At least with each other, we have a chance. Vex was silent for a long moment. Finally, he nodded. Very well, Captain Walker. We will try your plan. 30 minutes later, 3 Earth heavy cruisers dropped out of faster-than-light travel near the Moon's orbit. They immediately detected both the Phantom and the 5 Tauran warships. Earth vessels, this is Captain James Walker. Walker broadcast from the Phantom. Hold your position and do not engage the Tauran ships. We have a situation that concerns Earth's security. Captain Walker, this is Admiral Garcia, came the reply. You are ordered to surrender that vessel immediately. The Tauran presence constitutes a clear threat. Admiral, I respectfully request 5 minutes to explain. Walker insisted. What we've discovered affects both Earth and the Tauran Protectorate. There was a pause before the Admiral replied. 5 minutes, Captain. No more. As they waited, the collective probe continued its approach, now close enough to be visible on standard sensors. All ships are in position, Foster reported. The probe will be in range of the capture field in 60 seconds. Walker nodded to Anna. It's time. Anna connected with the ship's systems and activated a broadband transmission to all vessels. Attention all ships. We are about to show you evidence of a threat greater than any conflict between our species. Atlas, activate the projection system. The space between the ships lit up with images from the future. Earth cities in ruins, Tauran worlds burning, and the horrific biomechanical ships of the collective consuming everything in their path. This is our future. Anna's voice echoed across all channels, unless we stand together. As the projection continued, the probe came within range. Activating capture field now, Anna announced. A blue energy beam shot out from the Phantom, enveloping the small probe. It struggled briefly before being pulled toward the assembled ships. All vessels, direct your scanners at the captured object, Walker ordered. You'll detect technology unlike anything from Earth or the Tauran Protectorate. For several tense moments, there was silence across all channels as both fleets analyzed the probe. Finally, Admiral Garcia's voice came through. Captain Walker, our readings confirm. This is not technology we recognize. What is it? It's called the Collective, Walker explained. A hive mind species that will threaten both humanity and the Taurans. The ship I'm on was sent back from the future to warn us and help us prepare. This is difficult to believe, Garcia said cautiously. Admiral, Commander Vex cut in. My fleet has verified these readings independently. Whatever this device is, it is scanning all our ships and transmitting data to somewhere outside known space. I suggest we continue this discussion face to face. All three parties. There was another long pause before Garcia responded. Agreed. We will send a shuttle to the future vessel. Hours later, Walker stood on the bridge of the Phantom with Anna at his side. Through the main viewport, they could see both Earth and Tauran ships now positioned in a defensive formation around the mysterious warship. They're actually working together, Walker said with wonder in his voice. The first step, Anna replied. There will be many challenges ahead, but this is how it begins. Atlas appeared beside them. The cryopods are preparing to revive the rest of the crew. The Phantom is now at full operational capacity. Walker turned to Anna. So what happens now? She smiled slightly. Now we build something that wasn't possible in my timeline. A united defense against the collective. The warship that shouldn't exist has given humanity and the Taurans the one thing we never had before. What's that? Walker asked. A fighting chance, Anna replied, looking out at the stars. And sometimes that's all we need. As the Phantom hummed with power and purpose, the impossible ship from the future prepared for a war that hadn't yet begun. But this time, they wouldn't face it alone.